In today's episode of Banterpreneurs, we draw inspiration from 1950s courtship to discover how sales and marketing can form an everlasting love.
Our expert, Abbie White, distills her wealth of knowledge around sales and marketing into simple practivities every business owner can do to get better results.
We reveal how every business can benefit from some stop. Abbie Time.
No.
Abbie Time.
Solopreneurs, come on down! Unpacking all your business woes on the go. Your queens of business banter, Laura and Lindsay. You're in for a hilarious half hour of unconventional, unpredictable, unadulterated solopreneur shenanigans, jam-packed with pearls of wisdom and actionable aha moments. Let's get ready to banter!
G'day, hello, and welcome to today's episode of Banterpreneurs. She is Lindsay. She's an improv teacher, a creativity coach, and her method of choice for exercising right now is trampolining.
Yes.
Don't you know?
And I have to tell you, it brings you back to being 12 years old. It's the best thing ever. Yes.
Sorry, before you go on, I should also point out that she's not a mum. So probably
I can be 12,
a
all right?
whole different ball game. I'm talking about bladder.
At the moment. Look, I do need to empty beforehand. Like that it's got to be factored in. So I'm not, I'm not exactly Arnie Schwarzenegger bladder, you know what I mean? All right, everyone, as you know, this is Laura. She is a professional speaker, a performance coach, and the other night she had a dream about me saying that whenever I get livid, I list foods. Now I'm hoping that this is a new thing in anger management, because I reckon like this could be a thing. But I kind of liked it.
It was excellent. In her dream, she was like, cheesecake, biscuits, Nutella, and then stomped off. It was really weird. But yeah, maybe we'll dig into that privately and understand what that means. Or maybe I just wanted cheesecake, Nutella, and biscuits.
Could have been.
At that time.
Could have been.
Anyway, we have a guest on today, everybody.
Yeah.
We're excited, very excited for a number of reasons. But one of them is this is our first female guest. Can you believe that?
Ooh, nice. I'm excited. I'm
extra
excited.
I know, on this call. So today we have the fabulous Abbie White. So she is the CEO of Sales Redefined. She's a marriage counselor for sales and marketing, which I'm very excited to dig into.
Explore.
And possibly the most exciting thing is she's a crazy dog lady and a coffee addict. So definitely a woman after our own heart. So
nice.
Without further ado, let us welcome her on to the episode. Come on up, Abbie.
Hey! There she is.
Hello, that's quite the intro. First woman. Wow.
I know. We didn't want to overwhelm you, no pressure or anything. But
no
I
pressure.
The memo about the female uniform. So well done on that.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get.
Right.
So Lindsay didn't
get that memo. Yeah.
For people that are listening and not watching, we're in animal print. I think we're on trend right now.
Lovely.
We're always on trend. Anyway, welcome to the madness, Abbie. Thank you very much.
Welcome
for being here. We're also I'm excited. I don't know about Lindsay because you're a pom, and we are. I'm going to say it. We are the founders, the kings, the queens of banter. Us poms.
True.
So again, no pressure.
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of pressure here. Like, geez, I've got to be funny. I've got to be the first woman. Like, geez. Okay.
It's a lot of firsts here. It's going to be great.
Do you, love. You just do you.
That's it, mate. That's it.
So I think Lindsay and I are so delirious because Abbie is a master of sales and marketing.
Master.
And that's not our strong point, as you will know, having listened to any of our podcasts. So I have a few things I want to ask you, Abbie. But first of all, can you just tell us a bit about this marriage counsellor for sales and marketing?
Yeah, this kind of evolved of its own accord. So my background is all sales. And when I was with IBM for a long time, developed all my career in sales, all that sort of stuff. Decided it was a great idea to leave my safe, corporate, well-paid job and go off into the world to be a small business owner, because that's a great move.
Yeah.
And then you find out what it's really all about. And as we were sort of helping people to increase their sales with their sales strategy, there was just constantly this feedback that, oh, well, we could do that, but we'd have to get our marketing team on board, or our marketing are rubbish. Oh no, I'd never get any results from that. And we just constantly getting the same feedback. And I was like, God, they can't all be rubbish. I mean, surely. And we just kind of actually realized that the disconnect was more a disconnect between sales and marketing. They're both running different races in different directions. You want to go fancy pants and look at the research. LinkedIn found 9 out of 10 sales and marketing professionals are not in alignment on KPI, culture. You want to have banter. Sales are at the pub, marketing are the colouring in department. It's all there. And even for small business owners, even by ourselves, I think sometimes we don't think about, okay, that what I'm doing on social media or what I'm doing with my podcast, how does that create stepping stones and a pathway to sales? So long story short, I went and hired a bunch of people far more intelligent than me with marketing backgrounds, other people with sales backgrounds, and said, right, everything we do now as a business is Smarketing. I thought I was really clever and that I came up with that word. I was like, let's trademark it. I've done it, and then realized some bastard had beat me to it. So I was like, damn it.
Are they doing it well though? This is the question.
I've decided we're popularizing it. That's popularizing it. That's
yes,
word.
That works.
And so, for us then now, where we get the results, where we get the epic ROIs, where we get the $1 million campaigns, it is around how do you align sales and marketing, and how are we that marriage counselor, whether you're a one-man band and on your own on the journey, still how are you thinking about that marketing activity? How does it lead to sales? Or whether you're one of the world's largest corporates, which we're lucky enough to work with as well, how do you bridge the gap between the two? So that's where the marriage counseling came from. It's not that I'm really, really good at marriage. It's that I'm probably not. If my husband's listening, he's like, nah.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
It is more around bringing together the sales and marketing.
So, can I ask you a question? You okay, cool. So, child of the 80s, 70s, 80s, whatever. And not as masterful with sales and all that stuff as you are. I don't know crap about it. So when I think of sales, like especially back in the 80s and that, I kind of thought sales was marketing in a sense that they were one and the same. And it's really interesting to me because I was sort of, stalking you and just reading your stuff. and it was just really interesting to me that there is this kind of divide. So can you speak to that? Like how come I think sales is marketing? Like what is that about?
Well, firstly, I'm excited to have a stalker. I've never had a stalker before, so that
yes,
that you know of.
Yeah. So that's another first on my day. It's really interesting. Maybe you're just ahead of your time, because I think.
I like you so much. Can I just say that? Yeah.
Because our whole vibe of Smarketing is about the fact that there shouldn't be this disconnect. We should be happily married. And particularly now we're all going fancy and we're going digital, and, 44% of millennials want a seller-free experience. The two have to be in alignment. And a lot of the leading companies, the likes of Unilever, have just got rid of the CMO role, and they're bringing in heads of sales or heads of all channels, be it e-commerce channel online, be it a salesperson. So maybe it's just that you're ahead of your time. I think where it's traditionally gone wrong is sales. When I did all my sales roles, it's like I'm responsible for the client relationship. I'm responsible for closing the deal, bringing home the bacon. That's what I'm responsible for. And, in my head as a naive salesperson at the time, all marketers are going to hate me. Marketing are doing the website, they're doing the social media, they're doing the branding, they're doing like that stuff. That's their job. And even if you take now today and go, right, LinkedIn, whose job is that? Is that marketing or sales? And I think that's where our whole conversation is coming from, that there's now a gray area. And as sales, you now have to be involved in building your personal brand, helping with the marketing. But it's always been like, well, marketing will organize the event, or they'll organize this. Yeah. And I think now the two have to be so intertwined. Otherwise, we're essentially all just throwing money down the toilet.
Well, we definitely don't want to do that, especially as small business owners. Nobody got time for that.
And nobody got time for that. And we want a happy marriage too, don't we? I mean, we all want that happy marriage.
Well, actually, I'm just going to reverse slightly, because my question about that was, if you in your marriage were to be sales or marketing and your husband is the other one, like, can you reverse engineer this advice?
Oh, geez.
Use it in your marriage?
Yeah.
Probably not. I don't know how much I can apply this to my marriage. I do test a lot of stuff on my husband, the poor sod. I will do, like, I did a certification in emotional intelligence, and I did positive psychology, I did all these sorts of things. Or you'd practice even, like, with sales. When I was doing, IBM did sales school. Sounds super fancy, right? Like Harry Potter, but of the sales world. You would
dollar sign on your forehead.
Yeah, you'd learn all these different techniques, and I would blatantly come home and practice them on my husband. So he is a bit of a human guinea pig. How I would apply the Smarketing advice, maybe it's that actually I've got one for you. Maybe it's that you've got to be on the same page. This is good for you who are actually about to have a kid, in that you can't have mum saying this and dad saying that and being on different pages. So maybe with our 4-year-old devil child, it's kind of that you've got to have that alignment and have the front in front of the kids. We're completely aligned in where we're driving the bus. Maybe that's it.
And know your audience, right? Like, in my brain, I'm thinking, we started a hypnobirthing course last week, and the women asked the women, what are you expecting from the birth? And we all answered. And then I was like, can we ask the men? Because I felt like they weren't being involved. And none of them had anything to say. They were like, I don't have any expectations. And I was like, oh. And it was a nice reminder of know your audience. Like, maybe I should have, if I'd asked them in a different way, I think I'd have got a different response. So I think that's also the same with Smarketing, right? Is know your audience so that you can actually communicate to them in the way that's going to land more.
And ultimately, it's the alignment, right? That's what it's about. It's alignment. If you're both running off doing different things, be it in business or be it in personal life, there is no alignment. I met the other day with LinkedIn, and I was talking to them.
Oh, the actual LinkedIn.
The actual, like, people at LinkedIn in the real world, though, like in person. It was like
I was imagining you just met with like a laptop. It was like,
LinkedIn. Hello, I am LinkedIn. Yeah.
You're ruining my story because I'm trying to sound all posh and intelligent.
Okay, sorry. Go, darling, go.
You just ruined it, because no, I'm not an actual person. And they were saying that, like, where people are spending their time as marketers on LinkedIn is like over on this side, and where salespeople are using LinkedIn, i.e. where they're prospecting what they're doing, the overlap was 5%. So if you're running your own race, be it as a one-man band, be it as a big company, be it as husband, wife, whatever combo variation you want, partner, best mate, housemate, if you're running in different directions, there's no alignment, you're in for trouble.
That's so true. That's so true. And I know, since I've been trying to tackle the digital space, I have had these questions in my mind, maybe not completely consciously enough to explore them, but when I've been trying to build funnels, right? I've sort of always gone, when does the marketing funnel end and the sales funnel begin? Because again, they kind of seem like they're the same thing.
But it has to be. It's a process. I look at it as, where I believe we go wrong is most of us are trying to get married on the first date. So it's like, hey, buy my product or service, marry me. Or you're trying to have a one-night stand and then like slip out the door, right? And I think that if you look now at between coming across a business and buying from them, it takes 15 touch points, right? On average. So how do you build the dating process? How do I date you? I'm interested in your product, your services, your whatever. What are my options to date you? Try before you buy, get a bit of a vibe, get a bit of a feel. And so you're right that the sales funnel for me goes wrong, because most of the time, like, one of the biggest things we see as mistakes is someone might put out there some really cool webinar or PDF or social whatever, don't care what it is. And at the end of it, that's it. Thanks for coming. We had people spending thousands of dollars on webinars, and I'd say, well, how do you finish the webinar? And they go, thanks. We thank everyone for coming. So it's like, if you don't ask for the second date, then your sales funnel is a dead end and it's a one-night stand. And so, 90% of sales stall because the person didn't ask for the next step. So the moral to the story is always ask for a second date. You had a great first date, ask for a second date. And I think it's about building out that dating process. Otherwise, we're asking people to get married on the first date, and then we're confused and baffled when they don't buy. And then we never follow up again, ever, because they're just not interested. Yeah. And so it's dating. Like, not that I should be giving dating advice, because I'm not sure I'm very good at it, but like dating, that's what it is.
Yeah, it sounds like we're bringing courting back.
Oh, okay, courting. She's not ahead of her time. She's not ahead of her time.
Yes, I'm not, but I'm bringing it back, darling. I'm bringing courting back. Yeah. So it's courting, right?
Yeah, someone actually said that in a workshop this week. And I was like, yes, we're going back. We're courting.
See,
so it's not that old.
Someone said it, Laura. Someone said it in a workshop. They did.
I remember my auntie saying to me a few years ago, "Are you courting?" And I was like, "No, because it's not 1950." But actually, we all know the concept of courting, right? Even if we've never done it, and we've all been for the.
We've watched Pride and Prejudice and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Exactly. It's Pride and Prejudice at its best, and I think that's why people get disheartened. So they're like, "Oh, I'm doing all this social media content," or a load of people read that PDF or that ebook or that webinar, but no, I didn't get any business from it. Well, did you ask for a second date? Every single thing that I do, I ask for a second date. And it's, for me, it's adding value. I'm not being salesy about it, right? I think you sell by not selling, and you sell by educating. But are you constantly asking for a second date in everything you're doing? And if you do that, your sales will look dramatically different.
I like that a lot, and it's such a simple thing to remember and something we can all relate to. Okay, so in my mind, I'm thinking about even before the dating process, so the swiping, shall we call it. So what and particularly I think in the digital world, I think as a small business owner, it's way more challenging to get quality leads than if you're networking or you've got a community or anything like that. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong. So what's the go with digital marketing and filling up the lead bucket to then ask for the second date?
I think the problem of why people are finding it challenging is people typically come from a me-centric place. So, I'm focused on how I help people with sales. So let me put something together around, 10 ways you can solve world peace with sales, right? It's very me-centric. Yeah. And I think that what we're not doing, our funnels that just go absolutely wild and get the epic results are when you flip it around and go, what are the top 3 questions, like right in the back of your notebook, what are the top 3 questions that you are being asked day in, day out, all the bloody time? Put that out to the world and watch how many people take a bite. So I think the game is now, how are you more customer centric than anyone else? And what I like about what you guys are doing is, how do I remove vanilla? I think that so much, you can open your LinkedIn, your Instagram, it all looks the bloody same.
Yeah.
And so I think you can change that by doing what you guys are doing, which have a bit of fun along the way, or inject whatever your personality is for your brand, because this might not be your brand. But add your own 2 cents worth. So take away the vanilla. And I think it's as soon as you then put something out there that is literally what someone wants to talk about, it's their problem in their words. I'll give you an example, mainly because I like taking the piss out of him. My brother.
Do it. Yeah.
My brother is a running coach. And at the time of this story and example, he was coaching a lot of women. And his version is, how do you run your first 5K? How do you run your first 10K? How do you run a marathon? How do you not get injured? That's what he would be putting content out in the world and try and build his funnel off. When he actually stopped to listen to his wonderful sister for a minute around asking him questions.
Oh, you've got a sister too.
Yeah. What people were saying was, I'm running in the dark because I'm not a runner. I'm just not a runner. How do I run? I'm not a runner. And I'm really uncomfortable with my body. I'm really uncomfortable with my image. P.S. Which sports bra do you recommend? Because it's killing me. And I'm not a runner. And so suddenly, if he put out in the world, here is, I'm just making up a crap example, right? But here's your runner's guide for runners who aren't runners. And then suddenly around the go from, uncomfortable and, feeling the embarrassment and blah, 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 to the confidence, blah, blah, blah. that's a really shit example, but you get my vibe.
Yeah.
That is then a completely different conversation. And that's where it's just going to click. Right. So, and it's number one takeaway.
It's kind of value based as well, because the difference is like he's offering in the beginning instrumental help. This is the how. This is what we're going to do. Male help. I mean, we all know it, right? Yeah. Whereas you're talking about like going deeper to what's the fears, what's the values. Like these people are afraid to run because they don't think they're runners. It's not in their identity. So it's kind of like you're going deeper with those 100%. Values. You know, so am I right in saying that?
100%. And it's looking at why would people not buy? So even if I'm doing like, we do some fancy stuff as well that's more like high-end corporate, we're still looking at why do you lose? What's the objection you get? What story do I need to tell? What case study do I need to give to overcome that objection in your head? And so you are going through all the different parts of that story, whether it's about the company or your offering, or whether it's about yourself. We did one ages ago with a company who did rapid weight loss. So you have to overcome, I just can't lose weight. I just can't. It's like every diet under the sun and I just can't lose weight. Oh, this is just the latest fad diet on the street. If you are just throwing something out about your product or service, you're kind of talking at people rather than going with what are people's questions. And if their questions are, I just can't lose weight, I've tried every diet under the sun, I don't have any willpower, I can't stick to it, or whatever it is. And then you come with a conversation around that, that's the conversation.
So then, on that note, what kind of questions do you hear small business owners ask when it comes to sales and marketing?
For most small business owners, we get, I'm not a salesperson, I don't want to be a salesperson. I think there's still the perception of 1980s used car sales.
Bye.
Arthur Daly. It's Arthur Daly. I don't know if you know who that is, but Minder,
So literally, I think, and that's why our business is called Sales Redefined, right? We wanted to redefine sales, as it says on the tin, because I think that perception is what holds most small business owners back, because who wants to be associated with that? I was on holiday once. Someone said, what do you do? And I told them, I said, oh, you rip people off for a living.
Wow.
Oh,
how to make friends and influence people.
How likely are you going to be to do that? And so I would say, the number one thing is, I think a huge proportion are, I'm not a natural salesperson. That's the other one. And I get that, right? I get all of this because I got offered a role in sales and I turned it down, my first ever role, because I'm not a salesperson and I'm not a natural salesperson. And I think we have this perception of what a salesperson is, be it, the loud extrovert person, or be it the person ripping someone off. No one wants to be associated with that. So that's the number one thing, I think.
And what would your response be?
I think ultimately the harsh truth is no sales, no business. So you've got to change your relationship with sales if you want to be a small business owner and you want to have a business. And I typically get people to do an exercise where I say, think of your favorite client, your favorite testimonial, your person that was just like, Laura, thank you so much. You changed my world forever, right? And how do you put that customer testimonial up on your wall, wherever it might be, and go, right, how do I get that outcome more? How do I get more people that result, that outcome? Because providing you're not selling dodgy used cars, and I'm going to assume your audience and very lovely people who don't sell cars, sorry to anyone who does, then you're not ripping people off. You're providing them an outcome. You're providing them value. You're providing them a service that gets them to higher ground in whatever capacity. How do you get that result for more people? And I typically go one step further just to like poke the bear. And I say, if you don't have that conversation, you're denying people the opportunity to get that result. You're denying them the opportunity. So I think there's a flip. I believe sales is a mindset game. And until you've made that flip, you're going to keep looking for silver bullets of, I can turn on a bunch of Facebook ads and solve world peace and sit here and hide and never have a sales conversation. And that's not complete, it's a part dig, but not a complete dig of, yes, Facebook ads are lovely, they have a place. But at some point, you're still going to have to bloody speak to someone for most people's sales process.
You've made me think of something too. And I think that my argument would be on that as well. People tell you they're not a natural salesperson, but have they ever sold their partner an idea? Have they ever sold themselves in a job interview? Have they, like, people sell themselves all the time. Have they ever sold like an idea to a best friend for something to do on a Saturday night? Like, you're selling all the time. Like that's my feeling about it too. And I think, you know,
I'd just like to,
you go.
Sorry, Abbie, I'm just going to pull my friend up on this.
Yeah.
The words have come out of her mouth very regularly that she doesn't like marketing.
No.
And if I refer you to your previous comment about how sales and marketing are the same, then the comment you've just said can be very, very highly relevant for you and marketing, right? Like you market in many ways in your life.
Yeah, totally. Oh yeah, I'm always marketing myself. I sell myself short a lot though. But yeah, totally. So is it then, in that sense, if we're talking in that sense, is it then a mindset shift? Is that the main thing that has to happen?
Yeah, I think a lot of people want a silver bullet of like, oh, I just turn on this Facebook ad, or I just run this campaign and like we can solve a piece. And trust me, if I find that silver bullet, I'll let you know and I'll be really happy with that too. I want the same money.
Yeah.
Give me the silver bullet. But I think that typically until you've overcome that mindset block, it's really, really, really hard, because I reframe it is about being customer experience. Well, do you give a shit about a customer? Do you give a shit about providing an exceptional customer service? Do you give a shit about providing that customer the best possible outcome and value for money that you possibly could? That is sales. And so I think that that's the starting point and everything else flows from there. I actually worked with someone a few years back now, it was quite a few years ago, who had a membership and she hadn't sold any of the memberships and wanted to do all the Facebook ads and all the sort of stuff. And when I said, hey, you know, what are you doing currently? She said, oh, I'm a professional. She was a nutritionist. So she said, you know, I can't be saying to people, you know, you should join this membership. And I'm a professional. I'm in a position of trust. I don't want to abuse that situation. So I had the same conversation we've just had, you know, and so it said, well, you need to put the option on the table, because you're telling me if I join my membership, this is some of the outcomes I'm going to get. You've helped people who have got diabetes to have a better quality of life. You've helped people who are overweight lose the weight and have a better quality of life with their children and la la la. So same thing. If you are not offering someone the opportunity, the option, putting it on the table, you're denying them that opportunity to get that epic result you've just told me that you can achieve. And so she sold out her membership within a couple of weeks of that conversation. Just purely from changing her mindset around, and she actually had to put it on hold because she had too many, because she just started having the conversation and offering people the opportunity and being confident in, if that is the outcome you get for people, what's the outcome, what's the result that you get for people if I work with you, and how the hell do I do that for more people? It's very different to, I just need someone to buy. And I need to, am I pricing too much? Am I too expensive? That's the outcome that we get for people. We want more people with that outcome.
And it sounds like the word again that you said at the beginning, alignment, is coming into my brain, where it seems like in order to be able to change our mindset and get over the fear, because it is, you know, particularly at the start, maybe always for some people, most people, to get over that, it's about that, reminding ourselves, I've got a shitload of value to give to these people. And if I don't do this, then I'm denying them of that value. But then at the same time, aligning that with why we do what we do for ourselves as well. Do you think? Because, you know, we're in business because we want a certain lifestyle. Yes, we want to help people as well. So like you said a minute ago, Abbie, about if you don't do the sales, then, you know, you haven't got a business. So it's about going, got shitloads of value to add. I also want to add value to my own and my family's lives and leave a legacy. So how about I just, you know, redefine, rethink about this, get over myself, put my big girl pants on and communicate that value. Yeah, buy some cement.
Buy cement, yeah.
Do you think?
I think a lot of it comes to that as well, like also reframing the identity. If you keep on telling yourself, I'm not a salesperson, then guess what? You're not a salesperson. So there's also a process there of removing that. I really like Jim Quick, who's one of the world's like leading memory coaches. And he has this expression around, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. So when you sort of go, I used to say, I'm not good with names. right? Great salesperson, not good with names. You know, I'm not good with names, or I'm not good at that, or I'm not a runner, whatever, I'm not a salesperson, whatever it is. If you're fighting for that limitation, then you get to keep it. And so I think there's also something really, really powerful in that. It's like, you know, going geeky, Carol Dweck did her work on if you put the word yet into a sentence, how that changes. So I'm not a natural salesperson yet. It's a very different sentence to I'm not a salesperson. So I do think there's that piece, because otherwise everything that I could ever tell you, teach you, all of the above, if you're holding on tight to, but I'm just not a salesperson, you're not open to it.
Yeah, that's so important. Like everything, it's always our bloody brains, isn't it, that have the power to make or break us. I had something in my mind then, but I've forgotten what it was. It's completely gone.
If we keep going, it'll come back. I want to go up to follow-ups, because when I was stalking you, that was another thing that sort of stood out to me, which I thought was really, really cool about the failing to follow up thing, and how that's something that's a really major thing. Can you just talk us through your opinion on that?
It's so interesting, right? I can talk to you about 10,000 different things around sales, and you can look at all these different methodologies and cool shit and all the rest of it. And it's kind of funny for me, because I can do a 2-day workshop with a company, and it doesn't matter whether it's a really small business or a massive corporate. And we can talk about all these different cool fancy pants things. And at the end, I typically do a game of stop, start, keep doing. And the one thing that every company, and I'm talking like behemoth globals or small businesses, every company comes back to is, really should improve our follow-up. Really should follow up more. And so we try and get people to build the habit. And so we'll get companies to do follow-up Friday.
Cool.
Some people renamed it Abbie Time. You can rename it Abbie Time. I'm okay with that. Abbie Time.
Stop. Abbie Time. Yeah, come on, man. It's too good.
Yeah, stop. Abbie Time.
Yeah.
And we've had people have like some of their highest order days on record and epic results, because most of the time we don't follow up, because we get so busy and we are in reactive mode, and we don't carve out, even if it's just 15 minutes on a Friday, that proactive time to follow up. Or we don't follow up because we tell ourselves a really awesome story, which is, oh, they're just a waste of space. Oh, they're just a dickhead. They've got no money. No, they're never going to buy. Or, well, I didn't hear back from them, so they've probably gone with someone else. You don't actually know that. And so I think changing the follow-up process is really, 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 really powerful. And that alone can transform your sales.
And the other thing, people don't want to harangue people as well. Like sometimes I go, oh, but they'll think I'm haranguing them. But to be honest, in my experience of haranguing, because I freak out, oh my God, I'm haranguing this person. And they go, oh, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
Like that's happened to me heaps. I'm like, oh. Wow.
And I think it depends how you do it. Like I hate it when people say, oh, my follow-up process is I follow up after 1 day, 3 day, 5 days. It's like, good for you. That's your process. The other side of it might be, I might try and follow up with Laura, and Laura might say to me, hey, Abbie, about to give birth and have a baby right now. How's about we reconnect in September? In which case I can put an action to follow up with her in September. Or I might ring you and you might go, you know what, actually now's a really, really good time. I just need tonight to think about it and sleep on it. Yeah. Can you give me a call back in the morning? Right. Then what you've also done is you've put your ass on the line. You've put yourself on the hook, because if you don't phone back the next morning, you're then rude. You then haven't committed it. When you do phone back, you say, hey, you asked me to give you the night to sleep on it, just phoning back as promised. And so you've removed the awkwardness of being like, oh, hi, just following up to see. You've changed it, rather than just you following up of your accord on your process and it being all about you. If you've asked permission and then agreed when you will follow up, you've flipped it on its head and you've put it on the hook to do it.
And I was going to say, I find for me as a customer, quite often if I don't get followed up, then it pisses me off. Well, because I think it's rude, and I'm like, what, you think I haven't got enough money, or I'm not going to be like, I don't know what thoughts go through my head, but I do often think you've actually just missed out on an opportunity then. I mean, I could contact them, I understand that, but I'm a bitch.
And also you probably think they're not really that committed to what they're doing, you know.
Exactly. And what about this notion of price? Because I can tell you, I don't know about other industries, but being in the coaching industry, I am freaking saturated all the time by high ticket items, you've got to charge this much. If you're not charging this much, then, you know, you're not showing your value and blah, 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 blah. On the one hand, I agree with that. But on the other hand, I was saturated with this when I started, and I was trying to charge more than actually I should have. I now know in hindsight, because I hadn't earned my stripes and got the experience. So yeah, what are your thoughts on, I know this is a common business, you know, small business owner problem. How the friggin' hell do you set a price?
Yeah, I think it is really hard. And I'll be honest, like I've struggled with this one as well. I literally just had a conversation with one of my team this morning around, okay, we need to put some of our prices up and so on. So I'm definitely not perfect on this one whatsoever. I think it's really challenging for everyone. I do look at the market. So what are competitors charging? What is the benchmark? I totally agree with you. I think where some of us can go wrong is immediately going straight in off the bat with a quite high price. And sometimes actually it's worth the lower price to get the testimonials, get the case study, get your stripes. Or even sometimes it's an entry point into working with a client to then go on to do other things. So I think sometimes it's also looking at the long-term view of, well, how much can I do with this client over the next 12 months, over the next 2 years, rather than just getting so paranoid about that first thing. You know, you look at, I don't know, look at companies out there that might have a $1 entry point, right? That's not profitable. But if I can get you to spend $1 with me, you're 7 times more likely to go on and spend again. And so, you know, sometimes it's thinking more strategically about it. And then I do think you can increase your price as you go, when you've got your stripes, when you can show your outcomes and results. And I think where people go wrong on price, in my humble opinion, is we talk too much about the logic and the bits and pieces. So I'm a lawyer and a 1-hour consult with me is $150. For that $150, you're going to get a 1-hour consult. Don't care. What about if we said, I'm a lawyer, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to understand. So we work with some immigration lawyers, topic very close to my heart.
I might need some referrals, please.
So what about if you had the outcome, hey, we're going to understand your visa status. We're going to understand what are the next steps on your journey to get you a visa to stay in the country. And you'll walk away from this meeting knowing the next things that you need to do and what are the best options from here. I would pay $300. I would pay $500. I would pay more, because actually what I am getting out of that consult is not just a 1-hour consult. I have clarity that I'm getting the outcome. I just paid a horrific amount of money for copy, which I like literally cried myself to sleep for several nights over the amount of money I paid. The reason I paid it versus the one where initially I'd gone, we can't afford that, that's way over budget, and I ended up paying like 10 times more than that, was because I knew that person would get us the outcome. And I looked at it and went, if I do that and actually we can sell ABC from this, that's worth it, because I'm going to get an ROI. I'm going to get the outcome. Think of all the times you say, I've got no money or I can't spend that, and then you see something. It's about how can we deliver that outcome, and then I'll pay for it.
Yeah. And actually that outcome thing comes to mind. I know someone was telling me this about sales calls, and quite often we can trick ourselves and say, right, even I'm going to do follow-up Friday, so I'm going to, you know, make 10 follow-up calls, but we can kind of trick ourselves. You might do 10 follow-up calls and no one answers, and you're like, tick, done, follow-up Friday. Whereas, you know, if you actually then set it to an outcome, you know, I'm going to make sure I have 2 conversations today of the follow-ups, then we're going to have a much better result than just ticking an arbitrary box and thinking that we've done something good, right?
It's a bit of both. It's the whole lead measures, lag measures, right? In the, you know, you want the 6-pack at the gym, but to get the 6-pack at the gym, I need to commit to the fact I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week and I'm going to whatever. You can keep focusing on the 6-pack and you can keep focusing on the $1 million. It doesn't mean you're going to get any closer to it. Actually, if you focus on, well, if I actually can be consistent doing follow up every single Friday or going to the gym 5 times a week, by doing so, I'm more likely to get the 6-pack, the $1 million, the whatever it is. So the two, there's got to be a bit of a balance between the two, in my humble opinion.
And focusing on those behaviors when you're actually there, right? So you can't just go to the gym 5 times a week and sit on your phone, which is, I'm sure a lot of people do.
But you're not.
Is that what we're doing wrong? Shit.
Yeah. You're welcome. That's some free advice for you.
So she knows her shit, man.
Yeah.
This is why I don't have a 6-pack. Right, I've got it. I've got it.
This is why we tried to avert the eyes with leopard print.
Yes.
But that I find that in not just in sales, but in all things, when we're trying to create a habit, when we're trying to change behavior, we have to really drill it down into what is this 1 or maybe 2 key behaviors that I can adopt in order to then create that. And that's what you're talking about, Abbie. It's that mindset change. It could just be the first behavior might be the things that you're telling yourself in your head, just concentrating on that. Then it might be setting better outcomes, then it might be getting accountability around doing whatever the behavior is. So I think it can seem like such a complex subject matter or whatever, or portion of our business. But what I'm taking from this is you've actually drilled it down to be quite simple in terms of, understanding things better, understanding who we're talking to better, and using that as kind of the foundation to then know what direction to do and actually do it.
Yeah, I stalk. So who I stalk is James Clear. With Atomic Habits, and I love.
I was going to mention that. Yeah, Atomic Habits. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
I absolutely love the fact of how do you start small? There's no point going, right, I'm going to do follow-up Friday for 3 hours on a Friday, or I'm going to prospect every single day. You won't do it. You'll fall off the horse within a few days. So do I. So going, okay, at the moment, if the majority of my time is in the whirlwind of the day doing the stuff, how do I carve out 15 minutes a day for proactive sales? Just 15. Or how do I do 1 proactive sales activity a day? Just 1. And then when I've done 1, how do I do 2? How do I do 3? And so I think it starts small, build the habit to change from the whirlwind of the day to that proactive activity, and then build from there once you've built the habit.
And that's the shit that's actually going to make the difference, right? But we just don't prioritize it.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it practivities.
Practivity. I like it. I'm just conscious of time, and I could have you here for a million years, Abbie, because just because I stalk you, but because this is truly interesting to me, especially because, as Laura has pointed out, marketing is not my favorite thing in the world, but I am conscious of time. Let me think, Laura. What's the last thing you want to hear from Abbie? What's something really important you want to hear?
Okay. I'll try and think of something that's not stupid.
No, it can be stupid. Whatever. It's Banterpreneurs, man.
No. Okay. If I were to be the voice of the people right now, / ask the question,
the voice of the people. Do it now.
Yeah. I guess I'm probably asking you to kind of wrap it up in a way, is because our audience are small business owners. What's something that they can do now to really start to enhance their Smarketing?
Yes, I think put 15 minutes in your diary a day where you're going to focus on proactive sales, not just reactive of, I've got crap loads of emails, phone calls, blah, 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 blah. And in that 15 minutes, build yourself a little cheat sheet of, okay, what are the proactive sales activities that work for me? So is it, when I do calls, it works, or typically when I do lunch and learns, it works, or typically when I go and I do a speaking gig, it works, or when we do demos, it works, or when we give people a free sample, it works. What is it for you? It's almost like the lead domino. And then what can you be doing in those 15 minutes so that you're trying to remove the barriers, right? First of all, you've got 15 minutes in the diary. So that's barrier number 1, which is you're just consumed by the whole of the day. Barrier number 2 is then you sit at your desk and you're like, what do I do now with this 15 minutes? And so have a cheat sheet there to go, right, this is my shopping list of inspiration and ideas. I could go and connect with someone on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn's a great place for me. I could go and reach out to a co-working space and see if I can be a guest speaker. I could send some samples, because samples work, whatever it is for you. And then I think also just drill down into, write yourself in the back of your notebook now, what are the top questions that your customers being asked, that are asking you? And over the next week to 2 weeks, start to look at them. And then brutal look to go, are those the things that you're actually talking about on your social media, on your outreach, on your emails, your newsletter, your whatever it is, don't care what it is that actually consistent? And I think even if you just start with those couple things, you will start to see a massive shift. Obviously, you've got to put follow-up Friday / Abbie Time. I'm the ego boost that comes with Abbie Time. Put that in your diary just to make me feel good about myself and
do it, guys. Do it.
My work, and then I can increase my price. So I think just little small bite-sized habits like that don't boil the ocean. Are going to be the things that you see. And then, like I said, ask, if I have to wrap it up, the other thing we talked about was always ask for the second date. You change that. Every PDF that I do, at the end of it, there's a second date. Book into my Calendly. Come have a conversation with me about this. End of the webinar, if you want to talk a bit more about this, book in with me for a conversation. Let's continue the conversation from here. Every single thing has a second date.
Yeah, awesome advice.
And if they don't want to go on a second date, they'll either tell you no, or they'll just bugger off, right? They're not gonna yell at you and tell you you're worthless or you're, whatever.
Well, they might, but who cares?
What we think in our minds is that's what's going to happen. But oh my gosh, that's so good. There's so many things.
Great advice.
Watch this back and make.
I got to watch it and take notes, man. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I please tell you do a little summation? I know, because my brain's like,
do it.
In addition to what you've just said, Abbie, that's awesome. I think as well, it's about alignment. I think that alignment is a really good buzzword, and I think it applies in many ways. So aligning sales and marketing so that you're smarketing and everything works together as one. I think it's about aligning what value we can bring with what value we also want to get in the world and give in the world. I think it's about aligning our mindset and our behaviors with the outcomes that we want. I think 3 alignment things will do.
I feel aligned now. That was beautiful.
I feel so aligned.
Yeah, that's so great.
But I think that is the perfect foundation to then help us get over ourselves so that we can book that 15 minutes in. We can actually execute some practivities in that 15 minutes and actually get some decent results. I think setting that foundation, making sure we've got that alignment. And I really liked what you said as well, Abbie, about I can't remember the words you used, but just basically being yourself.
Yes, that's what I heard as well.
Bullshit in the world, especially still online. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people doing it authentically, but there still is a lot of still a lot of bullshit. Don't know what happened to me then. I had a glitch. And that's what we're trying to represent here, is just be yourself, be authentic in who you are and what you can offer. And then you're going to attract the right people. Sure, it might take longer than you want it to, but it's always going to, because we always want everything now. And then that's going to make the process easier.
Nice.
I once heard, and I'm going to totally butcher this, it's going to be terrible, but there was a really good quote, so ironically from one of the founders of IBM, who talked about, if you want to double, I'm going to really butcher this, but something like, if you want to double your win rate, double your loss rate or something like that. That's totally butchered.
Awesome.
But
I get it.
Point is,
I get it.
Like, you need to almost lose more. We want to lose more because if we're not going out there, we're not having the conversations, we're not getting some no's along the way, because you're never going to have 100% hit rate. Then you're almost, you're not out there enough to then be growing your sales. So how do you get 10 no's a week? Well, if you're going to get 10 no's a week, you're probably going to have 30 conversations a week or whatever it might be. So you're sort of getting out there more. That was really butchered, but hopefully you get the gist of that.
Makes massive sense. And I'm thinking in my brain, imagine if we celebrated the no's.
I know. Hey, hashtag celebrate no's. Yeah, totally.
I think I might do that, actually, because I think that's a great way to flip the mindset. We'll see. Anyway, before we wrap up, I'd like to say thank you again. I'd also like to ask you, please, Abbie, to tell everyone where they can find you. I'd also just like to know quickly about your new program that you've launched that I've been enjoying seeing everywhere. So can you give us a a little summary of all those things?
Yeah, so where you can find me, LinkedIn is typically where I'm hanging out the most. So Abbie White, and our company page is Sales Redefined. We try and have a bit of banter around sales and marketing on that too. I love a good meme.
Excellent.
So hopefully you'll get some value there, if only the memes. So that's where you can find us. In terms of our new program, we've just launched a program called Rev Up. So a little bit building on the conversation we've had today, we're trying to bring together revenue generating teams to go, right, how do you create that alignment? And we have got some absolutely bloody incredible speakers lined up, and we're kind of going on a journey together as a cohort starting this month, and then through the rest of 2023, going through all the different topics and all the different elements so that you can rev up. See what we did there? Rev up your sales and your revenue. So that's the vibe. We've ended up having quite a few small business owners join us as well, which is super exciting because they're trying to more lay the foundations to go, okay, well, before I bring on that salesperson or before I bring on that marketing person, how do I actually lay the foundations here? So we've got people who are in business by themselves coming proactively versus teams who are already sort of seeing some of that coming with us on the journey. So check it out.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much again. As we know, you're very easy to stalk, so people can do that.
I found her. Come on, guys, get out there. What are you doing?
Exactly. Look, this has been great. Like, as I said, I can't wait to go back and listen to all of this and take all the things I need to take from it for me. Thank you for your time. We know you're a busy lady, and let's bugger off, shall we?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate being your first lady. I appreciate
Yes, well done. I feel like we should have a fanfare. You did it. You did us proud, love. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, love.
Thanks for having me.
Bye then. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Banterpreneurs. If you have a question for us to answer on the show, submit it on our website at banterpreneurs.com. And if you liked what you heard, give us a review and share the love with a fellow business mate. See you next week for more solopreneur shenanigans.